If you want to build reading fluency fast, should you focus on sight words or sounding out words? Sight words requires the student to memorize a list of words and then when reading the book, recall those words and be able to read fluently. Sounding out words requires the students to know the sounds the letters make and to recognize the rules for English so that they can sound out the words correctly. Now, is there a difference between each of these teaching methods? Let me tell you about one of my graduate students. I teach online, and one of my students came to me because I teach phonics. And she was in the graduate program, and she's working on her master's degree in education. And her experience really shows how powerful it can be to teach reading the right way. Now, the current assignment she has is for her to write a 5-day lesson plan to help kindergartners build reading fluency. The rubric required a list of sight words and an activity where the students could read a story together. On top of all that, her professor in this master's program said that there is no way to sound out every word in the English language. So that would mean she needed to choose which words you would make sight words and which words you could sound out. And there's been a lot of deliberation because should we say sound it out? Yes. And I want to encourage you to boldly sound out words when you listen to this lesson. I'm going to teach you the basic principles of sounding out words so that you can be confident in helping your students. Now, I developed this program, Comprehensive Phonics. It is the no sight words teaching method. So with Comprehensive Phonics, we start with the very basics. We start with what a phonogram is. You've heard of grapheme and morphology and all diphthongs and all those other words. I teach them together as a phonogram. Everything can be boiled down to a phonogram. What is a phonogram? A phonogram is the way each sound is written. Phono means sound and gram means to write. So that's the first thing you teach when teaching reading. And we teach first single letter phonograms and then multi-letter phonograms. And you start teaching the charts. Remember, there's 25 different spelling rules? Well, these 25 different spelling rules are taught in 14 charts. And my previous videos have included the consonant vowel chart, the silent E chart, the 3 ways a single vowel says its name, and I taught the ed-t chart because I recently taught that to one of my students. So I'm using the things that I use with my students every week. Now, as we go through these charts, I'm also going to mention to you that sight words rely on memorization. How many words does a child have to memorize before they can be fluent in reading? I teach online as English as a foreign language, and I can tell which students have had phonics and which students have not, because the students that have phonics can 90% of the time sound the word out correctly. The students that had not have phonics but have been taught through sight words, they always say, now what's that word? I haven't seen that word before. And they don't have the skills of sounding out the word. So that's the skills you need. You need to link the letters in the words to the way they are spelled. Writing and reading are two sides of the same coin. I said all that is the introduction to the comprehensive phonics method. Now, if you're still with me, you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe. I care about that, but more than that, I care about you. And please comment below. I'm going to be teaching a kindergarten lesson, but I teach all levels, from beginners to adults. And so if whatever level you are in, please comment below. I'm an adult learning to read, I'm a teacher, I'm a parent, I'm a student, so that I know who's listening. If you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to write. I have my email listed in the show notes below. I'm here to help, and you know what? I have something other people don't have. I'm a beginner in the YouTube space. So right now, I'm reaching out to you, and I can give you personal one-on-one time. Once people start to get bigger, they train others to do the same work they're doing. But right now, you get to have an experience with me. So I challenge you to be brave, be courageous, email me, say I need help. We'll schedule a meeting. We'll have a one-on-one Zoom call where you can tell me what you need to do for why you're learning to read, who you're helping learn to read. So let's get together and comment below you're finding this lesson valuable. Now, as we listen, this is going to be the prerequisites, what the student already needs to know for today's lesson. Now, teaching reading is the most important thing. So they need to know how to read and write the 26 phonograms. Those are the single letter phonograms, and they can be vowels or consonants. Building the brain is what we're doing. We're teaching handwriting, and this is how you teach complete comprehensive phonics. We are going to be introducing multi-letter phonograms. Now, the multi-letter phonograms are 2 or more letters that together say a sound that's different than if they were by themselves. So this is our first multi-letter phonogram. Let's start, and we are going to write it as though I were teaching a class. So on the back of your paper, let's write shh. Now, I want you to notice the 2 letters together say shh. Now, say it as you write it. Shh. Say it as you write it. Shh. Say it as you write it. E-double-E always says E. Now, you'll notice we are leaving a space between the multi-letter phonograms. You need to leave the space of about 2 fingers because when you're writing words, you need to leave space between words. E-double-E always says E. E-double-E always says E. Except in Ben, where have you been? E-double-E always says E. And if you go to England, you will hear them say, I have been to see the Queen. So Americans say E-double-E always says E except in Ben. Where have you been? And ow. Oh, now you'll see on the back of the cards, I'm just showing you my paper copy. There is the directions for the teachers. This one has 2 sounds. Ow, oh, like brown and yellow. And I showed this to you because there are many ways to spell the O sound. So when we write ow, oh, the OW has 2 sounds. Ow, oh, as in brown and yellow. Ow, oh, as in brown or yellow. Ow, oh, as in brown or yellow. W, h, w, h, w, h, w, h. And E, A, A. E, A, A. E, A, A. E, A, A. 3 sounds. Now, those are the multi-letter phonograms, and you take time for the children to read them. Shh, shh, shh. E, E, E. Ow, oh, ow, oh, ow, oh. W, h, w, h, w, h. E, A, A. E, A, A. E, A, A. Those are the sounds the multi-letter phonograms say. Now, the words that we are going to use today are taken from the book Growing Up by Lisa Charlesworth. This is a beginning reader, and it's very simple when you see it. And you can see a kitten grows into a cat. Now, A says ah. A. Kitten grows. OW says oh. Ow, oh. Into. N, t, oo. The O says ooh. Oh, ooh. Cat. So notice the child can read, and when they say the sound they see, you help them if they're not saying it correctly. And let's learn these words first by taking a spelling test. Now, write your name and date. This is another skill that kindergartners need to have, to be able to write their name, to be able to write the date. And today we're going to learn 6 rows of words. You can see the first column has 6 spelling words already written, and we're going to trace them as we read them. And the second column, we're going to dictate spelling words and write them and then read them. Now, how did our lesson plan get developed? The lesson plan's here. We taught the new phonograms, and in this lesson we're going to sound it out to read. That's how you sound out words when you are reading. Sound it out. And then you think to spell. You hear the word and you think how it should be spelled, and then you write the word down. So we're teaching reading the first column of words, kitten and so forth, writing the second column, cat and so forth. And then after that, we're going to review the vowels, review the consonants in a little game, and then you can read the book. And vocabulary words are the glue for comprehension. Phonics is the foundation for all things reading. Vocabulary words are the foundation for all things comprehension. So they have to know the words they're reading and understand them. So when they get older, you teach vocabulary words. They're able to read the words in context. And then because they know the words in context, they will have comprehension. But they need to learn how to read. Reading is a fundamental skill. These are the steps in learning how to read. So I'm taking my time in this video, and if you're still with me, I want you to like and subscribe because I can see that you find this video helpful. And remember, I'm new on YouTube. I have followers that are watching me, and my videos are getting views. So I'm working on becoming the teacher to my YouTube students so I can see how I am helping you. Teaching students to sound out words is the most fundamental skill in teaching reading, and we're going to do it like this today. Now, I made these words based on that book, Growing Up. So that's where these words come from. So let's look at the first word. Now, we're going to trace the word, and I want you to sound it out as we write the letter K. Now remember, they already know the single letter phonograms. K, I, T, T, A, N. Now, how many vowels in this word? 1, 2. V for vowels. And so we know how many syllables are in this word. 2 syllables. Every syllable needs a vowel. Now let's read the syllable at a time. K, it. See how they sounded out the sounds? Now we're blending the syllables. K, it, kit. T, a, n, ten. Now let's read the word. Kitten. Say the word kitten. Now you can read it. Kitten. Kitten. Now we're going to read a book about what baby animals do when they grow up. What does a kitten grow up to be? A cat. Now we're going to use the k to make the k sound. Whenever there's a choice between ways to spell a sound, I will give the right word, the right sound. We're going to use the k to make the k sound. Now let's sound it out before we write it. Cat. How many syllables? Cat. So how many vowels are we going to have? 1. Now let's sound it out. K, at, cat. Now you write it. K, at, cat. Now read it. And that's how we continue to teach the words. Let's try the next one. Sound it out as you write it. T, add, p, o, o. There's a silent E. Now they know about the silent E, and I can go right back to the chart because I have it in easy access, and I can say, now you know there's 5 ways for rules for the silent E. And the first one is to make the vowel say its name. Why do we need the silent E in this word? To make the O say O. So how do we mark silent E's? You underline it twice. You always underline the silent E twice. And we're going to draw a bridge from the O to the E. That's why we need the silent E. Now, how many vowels in the word? 2. And let's sound it out. T, ad, tad, p, o, pole. Read the word, tadpole. Now, does anybody know what a tadpole is? And then you can have a little discussion. If nobody knows, we're going to learn about tadpoles this week in science class. And you're going to prepare a lesson for the life cycle of the frog. A tadpole is hatched in the water. It swims in the water as a young tadpole, and then it grows legs and it hops out of the water and breathes with lungs. A tadpole grows up to be a frog. Let's write the word frog. 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 It's a 1-syllable word, so there's 1 vowel. Frog. Frog. Now you read it to me. Good. Now let's look at the next word. Sound it out as you write it. Ooh, ah, Now the B is silent. I want you to underline the B twice. This is a silent letter. Now this is how we incorporate reading and writing. You want them to understand that some letters are part of a multi-letter phonogram and some letters are silent. And this word is lamb. Now, do you know what a lamb grows up to be? A sheep. Now, we learned some multi-letter phonograms today, and we're going to use them in this word. Now, let's think to spell sheep first. How many syllables do you hear? Sheep. 1. Sheep. Now, sound it out first. I want you to think to spell. Hold up your fingers each time you say a sound. Sh, eep. Good. Now remember what makes the sh sound, and I write it on the board or point to it on my charts. And E-double-E always says E. Okay, now sound it out. Sh, E, p. Now, when you see a multi-letter phonogram, I want you to underline it because it's saying one sound in this word. The multi-letter phonogram S and H together says shh. And the E-double-E always says E, so we underline it, and then you can see sh, E, p. Now, which sound is the vowel sound? Yes, the E-double-E is the vowel sound. Now, the consonants are sh and p. You see, multi-letter phonograms can be consonants or vowels. And that's how we continue to remember consonants and vowels. Now you notice I didn't put a V above all of the vowels, and you might not even need to, but you want to make sure you are constantly looking at the vowels, reminding them of the syllables. We think to spell a syllable at a time. We read a syllable at a time. If you read the word, once you've read it, you know, my son made a very important observation. He said, you know, Ma, he's my worker right now because he taught English with me. He has my overflow students. And he said, you know, every word becomes a sight word eventually. And I said, how do you figure that? And he says, well, you sound it out till you know it, and you don't have to ever sound it out again. So it's a sight word. Now see what you're doing? You are making every word accessible, because you're teaching them the skill of sounding out the words. Once they sound it out, they won't have to sound it out again. Now we know beginning readers need to practice, practice, practice. Well, teaching them to write and read and take spelling tests and read is reinforcing the skills of reading, and that is how they become fluent faster. Now, it takes a slower amount of time to write, but do not ever underestimate the power of writing, because the more you write, the more you know. Okay, back to the lesson. Row number 4. We're on row number 4. Sound it out as you write it. P, 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 E. Sound it out. P, up, p, E. How many syllables? Puppy. Read the word puppy. Puppy. Now, there's a consonant here that says more than one sound. Now, what are the vowels in puppy? A, U, U, and Y, I, E. Now, which sound is the Y, I, E saying? Y, I, E. It's saying its fourth sound. Now, to make sure the child continues to say the sounds, I call the phonograms by all the sounds they make. Now, we know the letter names, but we also need to know the letter sounds. So the Y-I-E says E in puppy. What does a puppy grow up to be? A dog. D-og. Dog. Let's go to row number 4. K-a-b. Now when you write a B, remember the stick is first. B. When you write a D, I want you to say D and trace your mouth. Remember the circles first. D-og. Dog. Because you're writing these so many times, you're correcting the handwriting. This is how you can correct dyslexic problems. You get them to write the words, you focus on the handwriting, and you get it into their minds, and you never ever worry if there's a mistake. Erase, write it again. That's what erasers are for. There's no problem. And see the courage you're building into your student and the confidence. There's no need to be afraid of making a mistake. There is a problem if you don't try. Now, what does a cub grow up to be? A bear. Now we're going to use the E-A to make the A sound. Let's write bear. Remember, B. Stick first. B. Air. Bear. And how do we mark this word? You underline the E-A. That's right. Why? It's a multi-letter phonogram. What sound is it saying? E-A. It's saying its third sound, so we put a 3 above it because it's saying its third sound. Notice we mark the letters that say the sound that is not their first sound. And the last row, we got to row number 6. Sound it out as you write it. P-I-G, L-E-T. Sound it out. You blend it. P-I-G, pig, let. Let, blending those sounds. And then you read it fluently. Piglet, piglet, piglet. We think to spell, and then we read. We sound it out to read. These are the places you blend. You blend what you've written, you blend what you read. And this is where you can make lists of words they've written and practice reading these words. And the last word is, what does a piglet grow up to be? A pig. Pig. Now, thank you for staying with me to finish this lesson. And as a teacher, you know that students can usually last about 20 minutes. So anywhere from 10 minutes to 20 minutes is that golden window. And that's why we change things up. We spend time on phonograms, we spend time on writing, and then now we're going to play a game. Yay! Okay, everybody stand up, and we're going to play the penny game. Everyone, go get your bag of pennies. Get in your desk. Everybody has a bag of 10 pennies. So we're going to work on the vowels first because there's only 5. Now I'm going to write them down on the side of the page, and I want you to write them down too. See, there's 6 rows, so we're just going to practice writing them in the column. A, E, I, E, Y, O, U, U, Y, I, E. You can teach everyone to read this way. You just have to stick to the program of learning the phonograms. And this is a game that's going to help you practice reading. So let's play the penny game. Okay, now I want you to put a penny on all the words that have the letter A. Now, remember, we're learning the letter names and the letter sounds. So they're going to put a penny on cat and tadpole and lamb and bear. And then we're going to read the word cat, tadpole, bear. Now, what sound was pronounced the most often? The A. And that is the short vowel sound. Do we know all the short vowel sounds? A, I, A. And what's the short vowel sound for the letter Y? It's the I, just like the I. Okay, and so which 2 words say the A sound? Raise your hand, read it. Cat, tadpole, very good. And which word does not say the A sound? Bear. How does the A say A? And what does the A say in this one? Well, it's part of the multi-letter phonogram, E-A, and it says the A sound. So we're analyzing the words while playing a game. Analyze the words. Why is that letter making the sound it's making? Because guess what? These are the patterns of the English language. Let's try the E. Can you find the E in the words? And they're going to mark kitten and tadpole and sheep and piglet. And what does the E say? And read the words. Kitten. Is that a short vowel sound? Yes, kitten. Sheep. What about that one? It's a multi-letter phonogram. Read the next one. Piglet. What about that one? It's the S sound. So you'll see most of the sounds are the short vowel sounds. Okay, now let's do the I. Kitten, and you get the picture. Piglet, pig, and then frog and dog. Hey, they rhyme. and cub and puppy. And then we're going to do the consonants now. Can you find the k sound? Now, right on the top is the perfect example for the letter C rule. Now, did you notice that C says before E, I, or Y? And did the C say S? No, because there's only 3 letters that can make the C say S. So if it is followed by an E, I, or Y, it has to be the K, otherwise it would be sitten, and it's kitten. Now that's a reverse rule, but you want the children to notice that most of the time the C says K. Okay, and notice lamb has a silent B. I want you to put a penny on all the B's and notice the silent B, and then cub is at the end of the word, B is at the beginning of bear, and you want to get them to understand the beginning, the end, the middle. And what is the spelling rule that's used in this word? O says O because of the silent E. Why did we put a 4 above the Y? Because it's saying its fourth sound. Y, I, E. What other words say the E sound? Sheep, puppy. Now see, that's total analyzation. Some programs teach all the way you can spell the E sound, and that is cumbersome. Here you teach them to read, and you can choose to draw attention to the sounds they make, or you can focus on reading the words, and you've done the job. And so we've come to the end of our lesson, and then the next step is for you to have your students give you oral sentences for these words, and just continue enjoy reading the words and reading the book. Continue to build the skills. You build the skills and keep them moving because you want them to build confidence. Those little books are important because they can read them and go on, but you're not limited to any one book. You can look at the books that you like, and there's really good books out there. So if you have a good set of beginning readers, please feel free to comment, because I want to support your channel if you are writing beginning readers, because we need to get them into the hands of the right people, because all readers just need to learn to read. Everybody needs to learn to read. That's what an educated society does. We teach our students to read. Now, I finished a kindergarten lesson today, and if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe and said yes, it was helpful. If you need a class for older students, please tell me older students. I'm reading Crime and Punishment with my son, so if you would like me to do a comprehensive reading lesson with that in mind, I might do it anyway because he's one of my students and I'm enjoying the class, so I'm going to use the book that I'm teaching because I'm all things reading. Comprehensive phonics is for the foundation of reading. Once you know how to read, then you can read to learn, but you have to keep practicing. Practice makes perfect, and the book like Crime and Punishment, I'm going to show you, it's not as hard as you think. It's long. So if you've never read a long book before, try that one. That is a classic, and there's a lot to be said about that. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.